Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. How many of you have felt that storm raging inside your mind? Those relentless battles with doubt, fear, and anxiety that steal your peace every single day? Maybe you've tried everything, distractions, advice, even prayer, but still that calm you crave feels miles away. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Peace isn't a prize you get after the struggle. Peace is a power you build right now, a mindset so strong that no setback, no heartbreak, no chaos can ever shake it. This isn't about avoiding the storm. It's about learning to stand firm in the middle of it. So if you're ready to stop surviving and start thriving with a peace that's unbreakable, then this moment is yours. Let's dive in. Most people chase peace as if it's something to be found out there in a quiet place, a perfect relationship, or a certain income level. But the truth is, peace isn't something you find, it's something you build. And it starts deep within you. The foundation of an unbreakable mindset, a peaceful mindset, is identity. If you don't know who you are, the world will try to tell you. If your sense of self is grounded in things that shift and shake, people's opinions, your performance, your past mistakes, or your future plans, then your peace will always be fragile. But when your identity is anchored in something unshakable, no storm can uproot you. Think about it. When someone criticizes you and you instantly get defensive or discouraged, what does that reveal? It's not really about the comment itself. It's about what you believe that comment says about you. If you're not sure of your value, criticism becomes a threat. If you're unsure of your purpose, failure becomes a confirmation of fear. But when you know who you are truly and deeply, the noise around you can't drown out the clarity within you. So how do you anchor your identity in something unshakable? You start by deciding that your worth isn't up for debate. It doesn't rise and fall with your productivity. It's not attached to your past or even your potential. It's rooted in the truth that you were created with purpose, on purpose. This is where faith comes in. Not just religious faith, but the deep inner conviction that your life matters, that your presence has weight, that you are more than what the world sees. You don't need to earn your peace. You just need to claim it. A peaceful mindset begins with choosing what you believe about yourself. Every day you are being shaped by messages through social media, conversations, your environment. If you're not intentional, those voices will define your value. That's why it's not enough to just avoid negativity. You have to actively fill your mind with truth. Affirm who you are. Remind yourself of what you stand for. Feed your spirit with wisdom. This is why reflection and stillness are so important, because they allow space for truth to settle in. Without that quiet foundation, you'll always be reacting instead of responding. People with a peaceful mindset aren't naive. They're not detached from reality. They just see reality through a different lens, a lens shaped by clarity, purpose, and inner strength. They've done the work of establishing who they are before the storm comes. So when it hits, they're not scrambling to find peace. They're operating from it. They know I might lose a job, but I haven't lost my identity. That relationship might end, but my value hasn't changed. The world may shift, but I won't be moved. This kind of peace is not passive, it's powerful. It takes courage to stand firm in who you are when the world is shouting who you should be. It takes grit to look rejection in the face and still say, I am enough But once you make that decision, once you plant your identity in something deeper than circumstance, you become immovable. You stop looking for peace in things that can be taken away. You carry it with you, unshaken. The irony is, when you stop chasing peace and start building it from within, you become a source of peace for others. Your presence becomes calming. Your words carry weight. Your energy creates space for others to breathe. That's not just mindset. That's leadership. And it starts with choosing every single day to anchor your identity in something unshakable. Because when you know who you are, nothing can break your peace. If there's one thing that determines the peace or chaos you live with each day, it's not your environment, your bank account, or even your relationships. It's the conversation happening inside your head. Most people are at war within themselves, not because life is unbearable, but because their thoughts are untrained. The battle is in the mind, and the voice that speaks the loudest is often your own. If you want a peaceful mindset that nothing can break, you have to learn how to master your inner dialogue. Every single one of us has that voice, the one that whispers fears, repeats regrets, questions worth, and magnifies what's missing. Left unchecked, it becomes a loop of anxiety, insecurity, and self-doubt. And here's the truth. You can't outrun your thoughts. You can travel the world, change jobs, enter new relationships. But if your mind is loud with negativity, peace will always be out of reach. That's why the work doesn't start outside. It starts with awareness. Peace begins with recognizing the power of your internal language. Your thoughts shape your emotions, and your emotions drive your actions. So if the root of your thinking is corrupted with fear, comparison, or guilt, it's only a matter of time before that spills into how you speak, how you lead, how you live. But when you learn to challenge the lies, speak truth to your fears, and intentionally rewire your mindset, everything starts to shift. Not overnight, but with consistency. The first step is noticing the patterns. How do you speak to yourself when you fail, when someone disappoints you, when plans fall apart? If your default is harshness, self-blame, or spiraling thoughts, that's not peace. That's internal sabotage. You cannot build strength from a place of self-criticism. A peaceful mindset requires compassion, not complacency. You can hold yourself accountable without tearing yourself down. You can acknowledge mistakes without labeling yourself a failure. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is replacing negative self-talk with truth-based declarations. This isn't just positive thinking, it's mental discipline. When the voice in your head says, I'm not good enough, you answer, I am growing and I'm equipped for what's next. When it says, what if I fail? You respond, then I'll learn and rise stronger. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about taking authority over your mind. You don't have to believe everything you think. Thoughts are not facts. They are suggestions. And you get to decide which ones you accept. A peaceful mindset is built through repetition, through training your thoughts like you would train a muscle. You don't just speak truth once and expect peace to last forever. You return to it again and again, especially when life gets loud. That's why daily mental practices like affirmations, journaling, or prayer are not optional. They're essential. They help you reset, refocus, and reclaim the narrative that fear tries to hijack. It's also important to remember that your inner dialogue is influenced by what you allow in. The voices you listen to online, in media, even in your close circle, are either feeding your peace are fueling your anxiety. You can't expect calm in your mind if you're constantly feeding it chaos. Be selective with your inputs. Choose voices that lift you, challenge you, and speak to your future, not just your fears. And don't underestimate the power of silence. Sometimes the most spiritual and strategic thing you can do is turn off the noise and sit with your thoughts. That space allows you to hear what's really going on beneath the surface. It gives you clarity, and clarity is a prerequisite for peace. Without it, your mind will chase 1,000 narratives, none of which bring rest. People who carry peace don't have perfect thoughts. They have disciplined ones. They've learned how to pause before reacting. They've built the habit of speaking life over themselves, even when emotions don't line up. They don't avoid struggle, but they refuse to let struggle write the story. They've trained their inner voice to reflect strength, not fear. And because of that, they move through life with a different kind of confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. This is how you build a mindset that nothing can break. You stop giving fear the microphone. You stop letting doubt set the tone. You rise up and decide, my thoughts will serve my purpose, not sabotage it. It's not about controlling every thought. It's about redirecting them toward truth every time they wander. Peace doesn't mean your mind is quiet all the time. It means you've built the strength to quiet it when it matters most. And that's what separates those who crumble under pressure from those who rise through it. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even circumstances. It's the voice they listen to, the one they've trained to speak peace in the storm. That voice is already inside you. It's time to let it lead. In the middle of the noise, pressure, and speed of life, there's a secret weapon that very few people truly understand: stillness. Not the kind that just happens when everything goes quiet, but the kind you choose, the kind you build into your day, into your lifestyle, into your spirit. A peaceful mindset that nothing can break isn't just the result of thinking positively or speaking affirmations. It's born in moments of reflection. When you slow down long enough to listen to what's really going on inside. Most people are always running towards success, away from pain, into the next obligation. And while motion can look like progress, sometimes it's just distraction. Stillness exposes what movement hides. When you get quiet, you start to hear the internal dialogue. You start to feel the emotions you've been burying. You begin to face the questions you've been avoiding. And yes, it can be uncomfortable, but that's where peace is built, not in avoidance, but in awareness. The truth is, a mind that's always reacting never has the space to be at rest. If you're always scrolling, always responding, always trying to keep up, you'll eventually break down. Not because you're weak, but because even strong minds need moments to reset. Stillness gives you that reset. It's where clarity is born. It's where direction emerges. It's where your identity is strengthened, your thoughts are refined, and your purpose is remembered. You don't need a retreat in the mountains to find stillness. You need intention. A few minutes in the morning to sit in silence, a quiet walk without music or noise, a moment of deep breathing when anxiety tries to take over, a practice of journaling that helps you organize your thoughts and release the clutter. Stillness isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing something deeply valuable, connecting with your soul. It's in stillness that you begin to recognize the difference between reaction and response. Reaction is quick, emotional, and often driven by fear. Response is rooted, thoughtful, and grounded in truth. The space between the two is where peace lives. But if you don't build space into your life, space to reflect, to realign, to return to what matters, then you'll always live at the mercy of the moment. You'll confuse urgency with importance. You'll mistake motion for meaning, and you'll find yourself exhausted even when you're achieving. Stillness also reconnects you to your core values. When life gets loud, you can forget what really matters. You start living on autopilot, responding to demands instead of being led by your convictions. But when you pause, when you get quiet, you can ask yourself the questions that realign your path. Am I moving in the direction of my values? Is this decision coming from peace or pressure? What is this season trying to teach me? These are the kinds of questions that don't get answered in the rush. They get answered in the quiet. And the more you practice stillness, the more you begin to carry it with you. It becomes an inner calm that walks into every room before you speak. It shows up in how you handle tension, how you manage conflict, how you navigate uncertainty. People can feel it, not because you've said anything, but because you've built something solid inside. Stillness becomes your strength. It's not a pause in the fight. It is the preparation. It's where your peace gets reinforced, where your thoughts get aligned, where your mindset gets upgraded. And don't underestimate the spiritual dimension of this. Whether it's prayer, meditation, reading something sacred, or simply sitting in awe of life, these moments lift your perspective above the chaos. They remind you that you're not just reacting to life, you're part of something greater. You're connected to a deeper flow, a greater source, a higher calling. And that reminder, even in just a few minutes a day, can shift everything. It can steady your heart in a storm. It can bring clarity when confusion threatens. It can fill you with peace, even when nothing around you changes. This is what most people miss. They want peace, but they don't make space for it. They want clarity, but they don't sit still long enough to hear it. They want strength, but they keep running on empty. The most powerful thing you can do sometimes is pause, get quiet, reflect, realign, because peace doesn't scream, it whispers. And if you want to hear it, you have to be still enough to listen. Stillness is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's what allows you to move with intention, speak with clarity, and think with precision. It's not about doing less. It's about doing the right things from the right place. A peaceful mindset that nothing can break is built not just in action, but in reflection. And if you'll protect that space daily, it will become the well you draw strength from in every season. Strength is never given. It's earned through challenge. If you want to build a peaceful mindset that nothing can break, you have to understand this fundamental truth. Peace is not the absence of pressure, but the presence of resilience. It's easy to believe that peace means a smooth, trouble-free life, but real peace is forged in the fire of adversity. The strongest minds, the most unshakable spirits, are those who have faced intentional pressure and learned how to grow through it. Think about it like this. Muscles don't get stronger by avoiding weight. They get stronger by carrying it. The same goes for your mind and spirit. When life pushes you, when you face setbacks, disappointments, or unexpected trials, you have a choice. You can crumble, or you can use that pressure as a tool for growth. That choice is what separates those who live in peace from those who live in turmoil. Building mental fortitude is about training yourself to embrace resistance instead of running from it. It's about shifting your perspective so that challenges are not threats, but opportunities. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this teaching me? It's a mindset that refuses to be victimized by circumstances, but instead sees every trial as a chance to sharpen your character and deepen your faith. This is where gratitude plays a powerful role. Gratitude is not just about being thankful when things go well. It's about finding something to be grateful for, even in hardship. When you cultivate gratitude in the face of struggle, you start to rewire your brain. You create a habit of seeing light in the darkness, strength in the struggle, and hope in the pain. This habit builds resilience because it anchors you in positivity and possibility, not despair and defeat. Mental fortitude also requires intentional practice. It's not something that happens automatically. It's developed through daily habits. That could mean setting small, consistent goals that push you outside your comfort zone. It could mean learning to control your reactions, pausing before responding emotionally to conflict or disappointment. It could mean surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow and support you when you stumble. Every intentional step builds the muscles of your mind. One of the most profound lessons in building resilience is learning to embrace failure. Failure is often seen as the enemy of peace, but in reality, it's one of the greatest teachers. When you stop fearing failure and start learning from it, you take power away from the fear itself. You realize that failing is not falling apart, it's falling forward. Each setback becomes a stepping stone, each mistake a lesson, each disappointment a redirect towards something better. A peaceful mindset is not about avoiding problems, it's about facing them head on with courage and confidence. It's about knowing that no matter how hard life hits, you have the strength to get back up. This strength comes from within, from the foundation of your identity and the discipline of your mind. The more you practice resilience, the more natural it becomes. You stop shrinking from pressure and start leaning into it, knowing that pressure is the furnace that refines you. Pressure also teaches patience, which is an essential part of peace. When you're in the middle of a struggle, it's tempting to want immediate results, to want the pain to end now, to want the answers to come quickly. But peace grows when you learn to wait, when you trust the process, even when it feels slow or uncertain. Patience is not passive waiting. It's active endurance, holding on to hope and faith, even when the outcome isn't clear. Remember, no one's peace is tested until pressure comes. The calmest waters reveal the least about a person's strength. It's the storms that show who is truly anchored. When you build mental fortitude, you build a foundation that can withstand anything, a foundation that cannot be shaken by loss, criticism, or failure. This resilience is a choice you make every day, often in small moments. It's the decision to keep going when you want to quit. It's the refusal to let setbacks define you. It's the courage to believe in yourself when doubt tries to creep in. And the beautiful thing is, the more you choose resilience, the easier it becomes. The pressure that once threatened to break you now becomes the fuel that propels you forward. So if you want a peaceful mindset that nothing can break, start embracing the pressure. Don't run from the hard moments. Lean into them. Use them to build strength, to deepen your faith, to sharpen your character. Know that every challenge is shaping you into a person who can stand firm no matter what life throws your way. Because in the end, peace isn't about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain.